So today we're taking a look at the coordinate plane, and you've already done some work with the coordinate plane before. The coordinate plane is defined by the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-axis is basically just a horizontal number line. It goes side to side. It has negative numbers on the left and positive numbers on the right of the origin. The y-axis is also a number line, but instead of going horizontally, it's vertical. It goes up and down. Here's the y-axis. For the y-axis, the negative numbers are at the bottom and the positive numbers are at the top, up above the origin. And it's really these two axes that define the coordinate plane and let us say where things are located. The point where the x-axis and the y-axis cross is very important. It's called the origin. The origin is located at point 0, 0. And we'll talk more about coordinates in a little bit. Whenever you graph an ordered pair, you always need to start at the origin, at the intersection of the x-axis and the y-axis. So the x-axis and y-axis divide the coordinate plane into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, and Quadrant 4. Here's a trick for remembering that. If you start in Quadrant 1 and draw an arc all the way around to Quadrant 4, you'll end up drawing the letter C. And C is the first letter for a coordinate plane. That's how I like to remember where the quadrants are located. Now here's the real purpose of the coordinate plane. It lets us describe the location of an ordered pair. An ordered pair is just an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. We write ordered pairs like this. X-coordinate, comma, y-coordinate, all inside parentheses. If you ever find that you're not sure which one's first, x or y, just remember, x is before y in the alphabet, and the x-coordinate is also before the y-coordinate in an ordered pair. So now let's take a look at some ordered pairs. We're going to start in Quadrant 1. All of the points in Quadrant 1 have a positive x-coordinate and a positive y-coordinate. So why don't you pause the video and try graphing some of these points. All right, you must have hit play. So let's see, that means you're ready. So let's see where these points would be. Let's see, 1, 3. As we just talked about, the first value in my ordered pair is my x-coordinate. So when I'm graphing 1, 3, I need to go I start at the origin, I go 1 to the right, and then I go up 1, 2, 3. The x tells me how far to go left or right, and the y tells me how far to go up or down. And remember, I always start at the origin. So in this case, I go 1 to the right, and then 3 up. So that's the point 1, 3. Now let's look at 4, 2. Well, first I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go 4 to the right and then 2 up. That's the point 4, 2. Last of all, I have the point 5, 1. So I'm going to go 5 to the right and 1 up. That's the point 5, 1. It's 5 to the right of the origin, and it's 1 above the origin. And notice, all of my x and y coordinates are positive values. Next, let's look at some points in Quadrant 2. All of the points in Quadrant 2 have a negative x-coordinate and a positive y-coordinate. Hit pause and try graphing these points. All right, you've hit play, which means you're ready to talk about where these points are located. The same as Quadrant 1, my first value is my x-coordinate, followed by my y-coordinate. Remember, x tells me left to right, and y tells me up and down. So to graph negative 1, 3, I want to start at the origin, go 1 left, and up 3. That's negative 1, 3. To graph negative 4, 2, I want to go 4 to the left and 2 up. And to graph negative 5, 1, I need to go 5 to the left and 1 up. So all of our values in Quadrant 2 will have a negative x-coordinate and a positive y-coordinate. Now we're looking at Quadrant 3. In Quadrant 3, both the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate are negative. Let me go ahead and label my x-coordinates and y-coordinates, remembering that x is horizontal and y is vertical. All right, so let's graph negative 1, negative 3. As before, we want to start at the origin and go 1 to the left. And now we're going to go 3 down. That's -1, -3. Next, let's graph -4, -2. For -4, -2, we're going to go 4 to the left and 2 down. That means we're 4 to the left of the origin and we are 2 below it. Last, we need to graph -5, -1. So we're going to go 5 to the left and 1 down. And there's -5, -1. We've just got one more quadrant to look at. In quadrant 4, our points have a positive x coordinate and a negative y coordinate. So let's look at these points. The first point we want to talk about is 1, -3. Go ahead and pause it and see if you can graph these three on your own. And hit play when you're ready. Okay, ready to look at them? Let's start at the origin for 1, -3. Go 1 to the right and 3 down. For 4, -2, we would go 4 to the right and 2 down. And for 5, -1, we would go 5 to the right and 1 down. And that's what points look like in quadrant 4.